Athens, the summer of 427 BCE. The city is tense, but not because enemies crowd the walls, and not because hunger stalks the streets. This time the fear comes from something quieter, a decision made entirely within the law. In Athens' vast popular assembly, the ecclesia, thousands of citizens have just cast their votes. No shouting, no clashes, only hands rising into the air, orderly, cold, democratic. The decision is that an entire city must be erased, not by battle, not after a long siege, but by decree. On the island of Lesbos, in the city of Mytilene, the people still do not know. They have already surrendered. Weapons have been laid on the ground. The gates are open. The men are in custody. Women and children wait. And somewhere in the Aegean, a ship is already cutting through the water. If it reaches shore, every adult male will be put to death, and everyone else will be sold like property. This is the moment democracy stands on the edge. And the question is no longer whether Athens is capable of doing it, but whether it will go through with it. Picture yourself there, a full Athenian citizen. You have the right to vote, rare, valuable. But today, you are not voting on taxes, and you are not voting on war. You are voting on the fate of people you will never meet. There is no blood in front of you, no screams, only words. And that is exactly why the decision feels acceptable. To understand how it came to this, you need to understand what Mytilene really is. It is the main city of the island of Lesbos, wealthy, maritime, and strategically placed. Lesbos is not a tiny speck on the map. It sits near the coast of Asia Minor, along key sea routes. Whoever holds Lesbos controls trade, supply lines, and the movement of fleets. And most importantly, Mytilene is not an enemy of Athens. It never was. It is an ally. Part of the Delian League, the naval alliance formed after the defeat of Persia. At the beginning, the idea is simple: shared defense, a common fleet, collective security. But over time, the alliance begins to change. Little by little, it turns into an empire. Many cities pay contributions that function, in practice, as a tax. More and more, Athens makes decisions for everyone else. It does not happen all at once. It happens slowly. And that is what makes it so dangerous, because it starts to feel natural. Mytilene, however, holds a special position. It is one of the few allies not reduced to an ordinary payer. It keeps its own fleet and a measure of autonomy. That is a privilege, and also a permanent source of suspicion. In an empire, autonomy is not just freedom. It is the possibility of disobedience. In 431 BCE, the Peloponnesian War begins. On one side stands Athens, a naval power, a commercial center, a democracy. On the other stands Sparta, a land-based military state with iron discipline. Greece is split. And when a war like that begins, allies stop being friends. They become resources. They become numbers. They become risks. An island can turn into a strike from behind. Mytilene watches closely. It sees the war will not end quickly. It sees pressure building on the allies. It sees Athens punish rebellions, and the freedom of allied cities steadily shrink. So a plan takes shape in Mytilene, not among the people, but among the ruling elite. The city is run oligarchically. Decisions are made by a few, and those few do not merely want to break away from Athens. They want to unite the entire island of Lesbos under their control. And that is exactly the kind of regional power Athens would never allow. In 428 BCE, Mytilene's leaders begin to prepare. They reinforce the walls. stockpile supplies, ready themselves for a long siege, and they play a double game. They send envoys to Athens, supposedly for talks, while secretly seeking Spartan support. They set up a revolt meant to look inevitable. But in real politics, secret rarely stays secret. Signals reach Athens, perhaps through internal rivalries, perhaps through enemies on the island. Whatever the channel, the result is the same. Athens finds out, and it responds the way empires respond, quickly, with a fleet. Athenian ships sail for Lesbos. They try to get ahead of events. They even discuss striking during a religious festival when many people would be outside the walls. But the plan is debated publicly, in the democracy itself. And that openness makes secrecy hard. Mytilene is warned, and it moves faster. The siege begins. This is where the story darkens. Because while Athens speaks of an alliance, war reveals the truth. The alliance has become domination, and domination breeds desperation. At one point, a Spartan envoy reaches Mytilene. The aim is clear: aid, a fleet, a new front against Athens. But the help comes too late. The plans collapse, the siege tightens, and then the most important moment arrives. Mytilene surrenders. There is no heroic ending, no dramatic breakthrough. There is hunger, pressure, and no way out. The city is defeated. The men are prisoners. Weapons are surrendered. The immediate threat is gone. And only then does the question rise, the one that will remain in history. What punishment does a rebellious ally deserve once it has already been neutralized? In Athens, the assembly is called again, the engine of democracy, where thousands decide fates. And here, Cleon steps onto the stage. Cleon is a strong voice, and a useful one. He speaks directly to fear. And when a society is under strain, fear is the easiest currency. He declares that forgiveness is weakness, that an empire is not ruled through mercy, but through fear, that if Athens spares Mytilene, new revolts will follow tomorrow, and that the most dangerous mistake is hesitation. He turns the choice into a simple dilemma: survival or collapse, control or chaos. And inside that frame, many vote not because they are cruel, but because they are afraid. The proposal is extreme: every adult male to be executed, women and children sold into slavery, the city destroyed as a warning. The majority votes yes. Athens sends out a ship carrying the order. Here, an uncomfortable truth about human nature is exposed. When violence is personal, we hesitate. When it is abstract, we vote. The farther the victims are, the easier the decision becomes. Responsibility dissolves into the majority. I did not decide. We decided. Then the next day comes, and with it comes something slogans cannot cover: doubt. Athens wakes up. The initial fury is gone. People begin to picture the reality, not the abstract version, but the real one: a defeated city, prisoners, women and children sold far from their homes. A second assembly is called unusual, extraordinary, a sign that something inside the city has cracked. And this time, Diodotus speaks. He does not say, "Be good." He says, "Be rational." And that is why his words carry weight. He argues that mass destruction will not make the empire more stable, that if every act of defiance is punished with death, the next cities will fight to the end, because they will have nothing left to lose. That the hope of mercy is a tool of control, not a weakness. Diodotus does not defend rebellion. He defends Athens' future, and he makes a very modern observation. Sometimes the most dangerous decisions are the ones that look tough. The vote is razor thin, almost an accident. But the decision reverses. The death sentence is cancelled. Only there is one problem philosophy cannot solve: time. The first ship has already sailed, so a second ship is sent after it, and here the story turns into a thriller. The second trireme is double crewed. The rowers pull day and night. They sleep in shifts. They eat at the oars. There are no ceremonies, no showy heroics, only exhaustion, salt on skin, and one goal: to arrive before the order becomes action. The fate of an entire city depends on whether a few dozen men can endure one more hour. The ship arrives in time. The Athenian commander has already read the first order. Nearly everything is prepared, but the executions have not begun. In that instant, a single trireme separates two possible worlds, one in which democracy commits mass murder, and one in which it stops at the last moment. The city survives, but the cost is high. Athens still punishes harshly. The leaders of the revolt, about 1,000 men, are executed. Mytilene's walls are dismantled, its ships confiscated. The land of Lesbos is divided and placed under control, so it can never again become an independent power. That tells us something crucial. The choice was never between mercy and punishment. It was between annihilation and control. And control was the long-term strategy. Here, the logic of empire is laid bare. It does not always want to kill. It wants to govern. The most dangerous decisions in history are not always made by tyrants. Sometimes they are made by majorities convinced they are acting reasonably.